This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission 250.
The safe word is Gothmog, okay, guys? If there's too much trivia and you've had enough and you can't take it anymore, say Gothmog and I'll stop.
Copy.
Gothmog. You know Gothmog, John?
No.
He's the
I'm
white
sorry.
orc from Return of the King, the movie that we're watching. That we have watched.
That's Gothmog?
Gothmog.
Gothmog?
Uh-huh.
Wow. George Lucas was like, shit, I should have named a Sith that.
How dare you shit on Tolkien?
It sounds like a crappy George Lucas name. Gothmog. Really? Cool.
Did you skip over
Lord
that one when you were
Gothmog.
reading the books, John? You just, anything bad in the books you just forgot about instantly?
I don't remember a Gothmog.
I'm not
but
sure
maybe
there was
one that got
There
there.
might not
Yeah,
be.
I don't know. Gothmog totally sounds like, he's sitting there right next to Snokes.
Isn't it just Snoke? Come on, John, get your terrible
whatever
names
the
right.
hell, whatever the fuck, and Lord Sidious and Lord like Bad Teeth
Doku.
or whatever. I don't know. Goku and
Count Doku?
whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
All right, we're continuing on Fellowship of the Ring, guys. And I mean, the Return of the King is what I mean. I already fucked up. And to speak of fuck-ups, I'm going to correct myself for 3 things that I said in the previous episode during a little quality control that I noticed I said incorrectly. Okay. So here's those. The makeup for the mouth of Sauron, or like the digital enhancement of the mouth, I said it was 120%. Right. They actually did 200% of a normal size.
That's major.
That's the difference.
Major.
That's good.
Yeah.
We got a lot of emails about that.
Tons of emails. I want to set the record straight here. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Take it easy next time. You don't need to send 2 emails each. It's
We had a total of 6 emails.
I mean, it's a lot for us.
That's pretty good.
We don't have a very big administrative staff, so
it's true. So if we ignore you forever, apologies there.
Right.
We have nobody.
Because no one's manning the ship.
No.
Yeah, we're in a ship.
Really
We
bad
point it
about
in one direction, and luckily it's been all ocean so far because no one's steering it. We're just hanging on to the side. At the beginning of the last episode, I said I kind of got this right, but I missaid the words. It got nominated for 11 Oscars, and it won 11 Oscars. So it has like the record for highest perfect score, I guess, if you want to call it.
Oh, like the highest number of nominations to win of any movie.
Yeah, that won every single nomination that it got.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's some movies that have won. Are there any movies that have won more?
It's tied
Oscars?
for number 1 overall, and the other 2 still lost some of the nominations, but this one won all of them. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, just to clarify that. And I think I called the Witch King the Lich King a bunch of times.
That's a better name.
More of a that's a Dungeons and Dragons thing, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Or
so how much I know.
Yeah, it's other fantasy type of names that I got. It's the Witch King. I'll try to get it right this time, but that's about it. All right, so get your safe words ready, guys. Put on your diapers because it's fucking trivia time.
Gothmog!
This TC, you're yawning to hell.
I'm already yawning.
You're
I'm tuning out,
end, dude. You're at the end. This is the last
this
thing
is it. This
for
is
Lord
it.
of the Rings.
I'm already asleep, guys.
Yeah.
You know.
You got this. Come on.
You got this.
Come on. We're gonna make this.
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. We're not gonna leave no man behind.
No,
Right?
we're gonna interact when it makes sense. When there's cool trivia, you're gonna go, "Hey, good job! That's a really good piece of trivia." And I'll be like, "Yeah, it was.
That's right.
a good
That's
trivia right there."
That's right.
Yeah.
Go home, Frodo. Or wait, no, that's the other way around.
No, Frodo stays away.
Yeah.
The Minas Morgul set caught on fire overnight when they shut down the set. Minas Morgul is Sauron's castle, that whole mountainy Mordor area. It was all fake rocks, foam rocks, all that stuff. A pretty huge set. It filled up an entire warehouse. They shut down shoot one day, went home, came back. Half the set was burned down. Couldn't tell from the outside, but it almost burned the entire thing down and the warehouse. They don't know how it stopped. They didn't have cameras rolling, so they don't exactly know what happened, but it was just half burned. So like that pushed that portion of the production back quite a bit.
Oh, was it really?
There was there's a lot of detailed stuff on that set. So yeah, they had to like rebuild all that shit.
Damn.
Yeah. By the way, a lich in Dungeons and Dragons, that's a spellcaster who's tried to defy death by becoming undead.
A necromancer, you might say.
They're like super powerful, like nasty guys. If you encounter a lich, you're basically countering a spellcaster who's like tried to defy death, and he's terribly powerful and undead and pissy.
As opposed to a necromancer who harnesses death for his own powers.
That's a necromancer. These are spellcasters that have decided to defy death by becoming undead themselves.
Oh, they're zombie witches.
Zombie spellcasters.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
good to know, John. Thank you for that.
Yep.
The stairs to Shelob's Lair and Shelob's Lair itself were gigantic sets they built. Almost all of the shots you see of Frodo being stuck in the spiderwebs, they actually built that material and hung it up everywhere, and it was really sticky. The shot of him being wrapped up.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was. He actually had a lot of fun. He's not afraid of spiders.
Oh, really?
He's not opposed to being sticky. He thought it was like a pretty fun portion of the shoot.
It was like throw yourself at the wall and stick kind of thing, which is sort of fun. Yeah,
and it didn't really entirely hold him up during the scene where he's like hanging totally in the webs. They had wire harnesses on his wrists and chest.
Wow. What was it that they? Do you know
it's
what the
rubber,
sticky
like
substance?
a custom-made rubber substance that the props guys came up with.
Oh yeah,
that just it looked right.
Highly
and
carcinogenic, no
right.
big deal.
Yeah,
right. That's right. Don't smoke.
Yeah,
don't smoke.
Remember, no lighters on set, guys. Not today.
That's right.
Good thing about that stuff is it burns so fast you barely feel it. It just goes away immediately.
Your hair is gone. You didn't even
sucks
know.
all the oxygen out of your lungs, but after that, you're fine.
Also true. All
right.
Some call that cleansing.
The fire cleanse.
It's a fire cleanse.
It's hot in freaking LA these days.
It's the latest craze. Taking a couple of lies, but people say it's awesome.
Keto diet? No. You just go to the woods and you burn shit and then you
God,
cleanse.
this is going to be a 4-hour-long episode at this point. The scene where Samwise is running up the tower to save Frodo from the orcs after he was paralyzed and stuff. That was one set, like one kind of short-ish set, and they built it so that they'd be able to put the camera in a bunch of different places to trick you, to make it seem like he was actually going upstairs and stuff like that. So they built the set with camera positioning in mind, so they could be like, okay, this is all the same staircase, but we're going to put the one down left over here, down right over here, and kind of build it so that it looks different enough, so it doesn't look like you're filming it one staircase.
No, it looked good. It looked like he was kind of winding up there, and that was nice.
Yeah.
I like Badass Sam too.
That was his favorite part of the entire shoot. He felt like he was in a swashbuckler movie at that point.
Yeah.
He was having a good time. I think it seems like everyone was having a lot more fun on this shoot after the Two Towers. For some reason, the Two Towers was just like darker
Grueling or something.
overall. Yeah. Even Frodo, like I was saying, he had a good time in the Shelob set. He really did get wrapped up in that stuff. A lot of the shots of him like totally wrapped and you only see his face. The scene where Sam is peeling it open and you see his face. That's really what's his name in there, Elijah Wood. And one of his talents, he's always said, is that he can keep his eyes open without blinking for long periods of time.
You don't
he's never had a chance to use it.
No, I would never have guessed that.
Until this scene.
Gotta watch his eyes never blink the whole fucking movie.
Stay hydrated.
Wow. I mean, it's just sit there. That's something it's a great trick to play on the girlfriends. You just play dead.
Just dead. Just wake up
Yeah,
just with your eyes
dead.
open in the bed next to you.
You put a little white powder on your face, and
With
you
your
just
mouth
lie
open like
there.
a slight look of surprise.
You just don't blink.
then what?
Is key. Not many people can do that.
You just do like, boo. Right?
That's right.
No, you just wait until like they start trying to shake you and you try not to laugh.
Yeah.
And then eventually you start laughing.
And whether or not they think that's funny, then you know she's a keeper.
That's right.
100% of the time they leave after that if they think
Well, you know that they're just not going to take a joke.
Again, we're on the topic of cleansing tonight, so there you go.
Speaking of eyes and positions and talents, my friend, you guys know Matt, he has a pretty good talent where he can close his eyes or at least make it seem like his eyes are totally closed, but he can still see. So I've driven, we both used to sit in the car and I'd be like passed out and he would be passed out both with our mouths open, passing cars in the slow lane and people would flip out. It was pretty funny.
Nice.
That's pretty funny. What a stupid talent, but funny.
Yeah.
Pretty dumb talent, but yeah.
It's pretty fun to be in your early 20s, you know? Doing stupid stuff and nothing else. The Minas Tirith set was the largest set, they said, that was built on that side of the earth. I assume that means that's outside of Hollywood. It was pretty massive. They built it on the skeleton of the Helm's Deep set after all that was shot. Unlike Helm's Deep, where there were some parts that were to scale and a lot of it was miniatures, the Minas Tirith set was almost entirely to scale. So like the entire thing you see, you could walk around in. It was this massive city. Like there's in the behind the scenes, you can just see like built like a Disney World ride, basically. And they built in different locations too. They did the same thing where, one level was in one part of the rock quarry, another level was elsewhere on the rock quarry, and then they did the program camera moves to stack them digitally. So you had like this huge multi-level, panning helicopter shot, digitally done,
Nice.
in camera. Pretty sweet.
This side of the earth. They're telling you like this hemisphere. What do they mean by that?
I think they meant
this
out of Hollywood.
half of the earth.
They didn't
Basically,
explain.
they're just
what they
saying
meant.
outside of Hollywood, this is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Because I still think
Maybe-
there are some records, like I'm pretty sure Ben-Hur has like the biggest set ever built with that giant Coliseum thing. I think that might still stand. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, they didn't specify.
Yeah,
But certainly for
sure.
New Zealand, I would say it's probably the biggest set ever built in New Zealand, if I were to bet $5 on something.
Oh yeah.
It took, so after they built Helm's Deep and filmed at Helm's Deep, it took 6 more months after that of construction with 100 people on the construction crew to build Minas Tirith. Pretty serious construction project there.
Yeah. No kidding.
It was 5 levels total, and they melded the shots. The very top of it, however, the flat little courtyard thing, they built that in a parking lot, and it was a false perspective or forced perspective set where it was a third of the length that it looked, and they just positioned the camera so it looked like it went really far out, but it didn't really do that. But filmed in a parking lot.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I was just doing some research on, and it's still, Ben-Hur is, it measured 2,000 feet in length and covered 18 acres.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a lot of
That's-
space for a
That's
set.
never going to happen again.
I mean, basically, it was holding real chariot races.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So it was,
And they filled it with real. I remember like that was the only good part of that entire movie.
yeah, for sure.
But they had like all the extras and shit in it too. They filled it up with like tens of thousands of people or thousands of people. I forget.
Yep.
Citadel set was so large that the warehouse they built it in, I don't know if they forgot to do this or if it was just they knew a way around it. They built it and all the windows were at the very outer edge of the inside of this warehouse where they didn't have room to put lights in the warehouse to illuminate it as if it was like the light was coming from the outside. So they had to drill holes in this like concrete warehouse and like have the lights be outside and point through the holes at the windows in the interior of the set.
Damn.
So like it wasn't enclosed in a warehouse. They basically destroyed this warehouse so they could light it because they wanted to build it as big as possible. They didn't want to save room for the lights, it sounds like.
Huh.
So pretty crazy. They just went around and destroyed everything in New Zealand. What do you got, a warehouse? We'll put some holes in it.
we're gonna beat this thing up. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
a
don't
bunch
worry
of
about it.
aluminum.
aluminum. It's probably they could patch it later or something that they
Right.
wanted. I don't know.
They said concrete. Maybe it was concrete pillars they had to
concrete.
drill
They
through.
had to
I don't know why you'd have a
you
concrete
don't have
warehouse.
ceilings made of concrete.
No, it was
You don't-
the walls.
Really?
It was
Yeah,
sorry.
but-
It was like the
Oh,
walls of it.
Dude, I was picturing the ceiling though.
No, it's like the side, the walls, windows, basically in the Citadel.
gotcha.
Needed
Okay,
like a light
okay.
source, so it was like the vertical walls where the things. They
Yeah,
drilled
I mean,
through.
they're like, again, how many millions of dollars you got? Okay, you
infinite.
do whatever you want to
That's
my
true.
warehouse.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Fine.
They have as much money as they need. What they don't have is time. Get drill and ask questions later.
that's
We
right.
know it's not
Yeah.
yours, but we'll pay them. They'll be happy.
That's fine.
Let's see. Pickup shots were all done in the parking lot. Lots of shots in the parking lot in this movie. Christopher Lee's scene at the beginning that got cut out, that we talked a little bit about last week, was also shot
Yeah.
in a parking lot with him just standing on a wooden box and the camera was pointing up at him. They didn't even digitally fake the sky. It was a nice day that day. So they just kept the sky and then matched the other shots to the sky in the Christopher
Nice.
Lee parking lot.
Huh.
So that was like zero special effects of a lot of the shots that you guys probably didn't see because that's in the extended edition. Only.
Right.
But that's in the movie and it looks fine.
Fine.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks fine.
Wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. And in watching, I guess I should have started this with what I watched. There's about 6 hours of documentaries for this movie alone. And then there's 4
Holy
extended
shit.
edition length commentary tracks that I didn't listen. I didn't have time to listen to all of them,
Damn.
but I listened to the
I mean,
entire
who does?
cast commentary and I listened to half of the director and half of the pre and post production team commentaries. So there's
Wow.
quite a bit of information on this movie.
Jesus.
Yeah, I
dang.
guess
Yeah,
so.
That's impressive.
That's an
Good job.
understatement.
But also
Yes.
watching the extended editions again a lot this past week since we last podcasted, John, a lot of your complaints and things being like, that was in the book and it wasn't in the movie. It's in the extended edition.
Yeah,
You
is
can
it?
watch
Yeah.
the extended edition. The Palantir, is that what it's called? The little orb
Yep.
thingy? That's in
Yeah,
there
yeah.
a lot more. There are at least 2 more scenes with the
Yeah.
Palantir. It's actually the thing that drives them to go speak with the Mouth of Sauron, which is
Right.
probably the-
It is. It's a lot. It was more of a driving force in the books too, for sure. But yeah, I think that it just felt like it just got dropped off, as I was saying in the movie, which is, again,
And
I mean, what do they got to do? They have to make choices.
And I figured out why it's imperfect, why these movies could have been better. The thing that restricted them and pushed things, there's too much. Like looking at the Return of the King extended edition, it is the longest extended. Like there's the more deleted scenes from this last movie than all the other ones.
Yeah.
But the only reason that's the case is because a lot of shit that was supposed to be in the second movie got squeezed out because they had that 3-hour runtime limit. If they didn't have the limit on the Two Towers, they could have included 20, 30 more minutes of scenes in the Two Towers and then balanced the Return of the King
think
out
even
a
like
lot more.
the spider fight and everything is in the books. It's in the Two Towers. It's not in Return of the King. So I think they kind of had to push stuff out.
They could have put that in Two Towers, and there's this whole scene they cut out in Return of the King where Sam and Frodo put on orc armor outfits and then go marching with the orcs through Mordor, and they end up almost getting caught. And it's this like 10-minute long scene that's totally gone from this cut. It's a pretty good scene.
Should have been 4 movies, maybe.
Seriously?
Return of the King should have been part 1 and part 2.
And the thing with the pacing of like
but you're right.
with Saruman being, they're like, well, it doesn't fit. That whole long scene doesn't fit at the beginning of Return of the King. Agreed. Put it in the fucking Two Towers where it belongs. Yeah. Put it at the end. Make it longer. It would have worked.
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
That would have been good. But it's tough. I mean, to try to be fair to them, there's just so much content. It's just so hard. I mean, these books are not ridiculously long either. It's not like these books are hugely long. It's just they're dense. They're really dense in terms of all the things that happen. And so, yeah, it's tough for them because everybody respects the material so much that they don't want to leave stuff out, but then they just freaking have to. But even it turns out in the filming, it sounds like they didn't. In a lot of it, they actually put a whole lot in the filming. They actually still kept it, but they had to just cut it later.
They did, yeah, because they didn't know how they were going to edit it together. They just didn't know.
Like you said, you can't have a 4-hour movie. You couldn't. That was not going to be allowed.
I mean, you could have if the production. I'm glad they didn't in some ways, but I still think looking back at it, that was one of the driving issues on why the second and third movies don't feel as perfectly put together.
They didn't get to use all the footage they had. Not just that, there were sequences, whole chunks that they can't do because they had to cut for time.
Yeah.
Right. So, but what else were they going to do? I don't know if I guess the idea is I guess you got the suits saying, look, you have a 4-hour movie. It's not going to work. People aren't going to go see a 4-hour movie. It's not going to happen. So I don't know. Maybe that's what they're just saying. They're just saying, like, bottom line is you're not going to get people to go sit in a theater for 4 hours.
But then they must have back and forthed it to be like, well, we need 3 hours and 20 minutes. And they're like, I think that sounds about right.
They
yeah, we
it.
can do that.
That's not 4, right? You said 4.
Yeah.
That's not 4.
And it's even less than 3.5. I'm liking the sound of this. 3:20?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know.
And you're saying there's nothing else you can cut out? Nothing at all? You need all 2 hours of that battle scene in there? You need all of it?
Right.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe this should have been like 6 films.
And the thing is, too, with this movie,
but the problem is
they were struggling. Like in the first 2 movies, if you watch the extended editions, it's entire scenes, front to back, that are cut. It's basically like different, like very segmented sections are pulled out of the movie. Whereas in this movie, half a scene is cut, little portions of dialogue are cut. There's this 30-second long scene that's cut from the very center of it, where it shows how they get the boats, how Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli get the boats. It's not a very long scene. They're on the shores. Pirates are coming in ships sent by Sauron. Them 3 start charging these pirate ships, and the pirates are like, we got this. But then the freaking skeleton army comes and starts attacking them. And in that scene, it actually has Peter Jackson dressed up as like an orc guy, a pirate, I guess. And he gets shot to death by Legolas. Peter Jackson does. And it's like a 30, 45-second long scene, and they just removed it out of the movie. That's how much they were like probably like under pressure to edit as much as they possibly could out from this one.
Because it's a problem. You're just stuck. Like they can't make more than 3 films, right?
Right.
You can't do that. Like that. That's just ridiculous because you don't have the marketing and budget for everything like that to make it like a 6-film series. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
The thing is, too, if they had more time between movies, they might have paused and been like, we can split the last one into 2. Like what Harry Potter did. They're like, we have the money, we have the time, we can do this. But with Lord of the Rings, they're already filming. They already have everything like in the can, basically, by the time they might even think they have enough money
Right.
or time or whatever. They already have
Right,
a
and
release date.
I don't know again what the suits are saying. It's like, no, fuck no, you wrap this up. This is your last one. You don't get to have two more. It's not going to work.
The deadline was hard. They needed to release at Christmas of 2023. Or sorry, 2003. 2023.
Jesus Christ.
Besides,
Yeah,
it's
2000.
extra,
Long time ago.
I can't imagine. The idea is if you're going to split it, that's like so much extra production in terms of, okay, well, now you have to have a beginning and end, a new beginning and end.
Oh, you got to
for these
start all over.
things.
You got to set up the production offices again. You got to start from the top, and then asshole 1's not available, asshole 2's not available. You got to wait 6 months. It's a fucking, bullshit
And if you split the last one
situation.
into two, you need at least a 6-hour long movie to justify that, right? Because you can't be shorter than the other two for the fourth one. That would fuck people up.
It's just tough. It's too. I mean, it's great that they have the extended versions because,
And you've watched them, right? You own them. You've watched them.
I've watched them.
Yeah.
a long time ago.
It depends on what mood you're in. I used to say like the original ones are just better edited and stuff, but it just depends on how much time you have.
No.
Basically,
It's so hard now. But if I had days, and I've done this when I was single and had days to kill, it was great.
Yep.
It's like I'm just going to do this, and it was great. Like, but you have to be like in some place where you're just chill. You don't have anything to do, and you're not going to be interrupted, and you just want to not move around much. It's awesome, and yeah, I own the extended versions, and it's perfect for that. But it's hard to fit that much movie into your life as you get old. Maybe I'm retired. Maybe I'm in the old folks' home.
yeah.
I'm sitting there and
Get to the TV early, John, in your old folks' home. Claim the VHS player.
Yeah.
Hop in there first.
Let's
Pop in
get
the
my own
first one.
DVD.
Wait for people to start piling in. You have 12 hours of the most fun day
It's like
all
this-
year.
Yeah, I'll be great. I'll do when I just like can't move around anyway. I'm just gonna sit there and watch those extended editions. That would be great.
Yeah.
I love the idea of that.
Just make sure TC is in the same nursing home so you can piss them off.
I'll be
by
sitting
turning
there in the corner like, you fucking assholes. All right.
it on. He'd shut it off, but his legs don't work. He's
Yeah,
stuck
what
in the
else
corner.
are you gonna do, man?
I bet his eyes fucking closed now, fucking asshole. All right.
Okay, back to trivia. What do you think?
Okay, go.
Sure.
So Peter would bike from set to set during the post production. They had all these back in the studio in Wellington. They had all these different sets set up, and he would just bike between sets all day, just telling people what to do.
Peter's like a sumo wrestler kind of dude. Like this short, it's not like he's unhealthy. It seems.
He can't be. I mean, he goes. He's just always moving. Yeah. The only time you ever see him sitting down is when he's in the editing chair. But the rest of the time, he's standing up and moving places, and like. He's not an inactive director. He doesn't sit there and like describe what he wants. He gets in there and like shows people. He uses his hands a lot. He uses his body a lot. He like acts things out for people on how he wants things to happen. And then they do that. So he's, extremely physical. Sumo wrestler type, I suppose. But the sets during the last portion of the shoot were 24/7, 7 days a week.
Damn.
So they would just shoot. And there were like between 10 and 12 sets going at all times. During the last portion of the movie for pickup shots, for extra scenery shots, for whatever they needed. They were just going full out night and day forever until time ran out.
Wow.
They would shoot a set all day and then like turn it into something else. If they were done, they would have like kind of rotate a construction team. Like you'd film in this one part during the night because that made sense. And then when you were done, the construction team would go there, build it into something else. And then that shooting team would move to another set and it would just all kind of like rotate, sort of.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. They had a 120th scale Minas Morgul miniature, and there is a shot where it shows you the tower, the Eye of Sauron tower, with the gates of Minas Morgul in the front, and that's all a miniature for the most part. I think some of the very background part is animated, digital animation stuff, but to light it, they really wanted to get like an otherworldly feeling for that, and they lit it in 4 different ways. They experimented in a lot more, but they ended up taking 4 shots lit in 4 different ways and overlaying them for what you see. And they used like weird lighting, ultraviolet lighting, and all that type of stuff to get a unique shot. So they're doing experimental shit, trying shit.
Sure are.
Peter Jackson said it was the most expensive home film ever made. the way that he was running it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They built 60,000 miniature skulls for that scene where all the skulls are coming down.
Oh, wow.
60,000.
Wow.
Nice.
And they were
That's a lot.
small. They
That's
were
a
like,
real lot.
They were like golf ball sized, but they were all handmade different skulls. And
Wow.
they shot some of the skulls rolling down. The wider shot, a lot of that was the mini ones, the small skulls. But then they also had a bunch of full size skulls that were props, and they actually built a wall and they dumped the skulls on those three actors during the more close up shots during that scene. So a lot of that was real, like a ton of it. And then for the noises, they used walnuts.
Hey,
That's all you need.
Nice and simple.
So we'll get into some other stuff where they combine like 5 random fucking things for one noise, but that's just walnuts. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
In the Minas Tirith set, the actual set, they built in that set there were 1,000 houses. Each house had doors and windows. Not necessarily interiors, but the outsides. The wolf, I forget the wolf's name, the battering ram. John, do you know the name? There is a name.
Yeah. Well, they were chanting it.
They were chanting it, but it was kind of hard to hear. It's like Balrog or something like that, but not that. Anyway, that was a real statue they built. It was pretty large, and it was made
Grand.
Made entirely of lead.
Ooh.
Lead. The stuff you're not supposed to be near.
Always good for you.
Yeah. And they would beat the shit out of it. They showed the guy who had to reshape it after they smashed it into that wooden door over and over again. He had to reshape it with gloves on. But I'm sitting there thinking, you're smashing it into a wooden door. It's shaving off pieces of lead into the set. What are you guys doing? This seems like a terrible idea.
Making money.
The miniature department worked so long, they had a party about halfway through their shoot on day 666. Ha ha. The devil. Pretty cool of them, huh? Pretty hip.
Pretty smart.
Pretty smart.
Pretty prescient of them. Yes, that's right.
But they shot for over 1,000 days. The miniature department. Quite a bit of work. They thought they were done, but basically as soon as they were done, they got a call being like, extended editions are a go. Back into the studio. We got more work to do. We have to finish up these other shots. All the armor had to be designed to be able to be flexible, to all look the same, but to be able to be fitted across all the different stuntmen and actors and extras that were going to be fitted into them, and designed in a way where it'd be easy to adjust the length and not look fucking weird when you had to shorten it up a bit. So like all these design considerations for all the different sizes for the thousands of armors they put on people throughout this movie. It's a feat. It is a feat. Viggo talked himself into less armor for his style. He saw other extras walking around and thinking that looks pretty fucking uncomfortable, and justified it being like, Viggo's a ranger. He'd have more leather stuff on. He wouldn't wear that.
That's more. He's a more dexterity build,
right?
Not a strength build.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it took too much to convince Peter. Viggo just talked himself out of it. Guy was he was a king to the stuntmen in this movie.
He was great. Although I didn't like his hair. I didn't like him. I didn't like Viggo's perfectly combed hair. I complained about hair in his eyes, but I
got nothing
did not
but
like
complaints over there, John.
I did not like coaffed Viggo's hair
when he was the king. When he was getting the crown,
when he was the king. It was all like pretty Prince Valiant looking, pretty shitty looking on him.
What about when he's old and dead? When he's got the gray hair?
Yeah, that's fine.
That was okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's all good. I sympathize with that one. At least he had
old,
hair.
Gray,
God damn it! He had a lot of good hair for an old gray dead guy. Lucky bastard.
Of course he does. He's Viggo.
Yeah, yes, sir.
There was a large orc redesign at the beginning of this movie. They had what Peter called 2 problems with the orcs. The 2 problems were they walked like they had full diapers.
Okay.
And they had, quote, witchy poo noses. So he basically, witchy poo, which means just like a long nose. So a lot of the orcs
like
have long
a
noses.
Wicked Witch of the West sort of nose or
so
something.
If you notice, none of the orcs have witchy poo noses. They all have kind of either no nose or very short noses. They're all very smushed noses. That was Peter Jackson didn't want. He thought it looked silly, which it probably would have.
I mean, must have. Yeah.
But the full diaper thing also, it's like, that was how the stunt team decided to go with it without any direction. And he's like, no, not like that. You can't walk like you got a load in your pants. People are going to scratch their heads.
We can see the poop, guys. Come on.
It's not going to work.
Not
If
gonna
you guys thought
happen.
this would work, come on.
No.
So Gothmog, that actor, his name is, I'm going to mess up his last name, but his name is Lawrence Makore, something like that. He's a stuntman, and he played Lurtz in The Fellowship of the Ring, who was the Orkai at the very beginning that kills, what's his name? Boromir. He plays that guy in that stunt outfit. In this movie, he plays both the Witch King and Gothmog.
Gotcha.
He's
Okay.
underneath both of those.
And Gothmog was in the books. I just didn't notice or remember. But he was the guy that had the real misshapen
Yeah.
face. His face looked half melted.
He was the commander of the first half of the big ass battle
Yeah.
scene outside of Minas Tirith.
Right.
And in the extended editions, he lives. When in the theatrical cut, they show him like when the Rohirrim charge and they show him being scared. That's the last time
Right.
you see him. You assume
Right,
he's
right.
dead.
There's this big rock coming down on him, right?
No,
It
he
looks
moves
like
out of the way of the
he's
rock.
gone. Yeah.
It's the charge of the horses, and you see him like,
Oh,
oh,
they get
fuck.
him?
And then like that's the last you see of him. But in
Right.
the extended cut, he's there when they're fighting the Witch King. He's like around, and Aragon, he comes up and chops his head off. So he gets
Okay.
decapitated in
Oh.
the extended edition.
Nice.
Yeah. Not totally necessary, but pretty cool. Head's coming
Yeah.
off. Why not?
It was like a good head beheading.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they call it a beheading instead of an unheading?
But a D heading?
A deheading.
that would make more sense, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand it either.
Things that
Good
make
question,
you go,
John. Time to go to Wikipedia, John. Let us know when you find it.
That's pretty good, actually.
So last episode too, this is a slight correction from last episode. The King of the Dead, I said it was fully practical. Not entirely true. What they did is they put him in like a white makeup with like a bunch of prosthetics on, face stuff, and they filmed him with like wind blowing and a different camera angle, or different camera speed, so the cloaks and stuff like that were whipping around. But they also did a digital version of it, and they faded the real version and the digital version back and forth as they overlaid each other, so his face looked like it was like shifting in and out of being a zombie or whatever. So that's what that effect was. John's not listening because he's looking up this
Beheadings.
other piece of
Right.
trivia.
Right. The term behead is used instead of dehead because B often implies transformation or change, while D typically indicates removal. In this case, a behead it specifically refers to the act of removing a head. Particularly, it's not like you're not
That makes
disappearing
no
the head.
sense.
No. You're
Oh,
not like the head is not disappearing. It's being transformed. It's like being placed elsewhere.
You know, it would be funny if you had like a zombie movie and you had someone explain this towards the beginning, but then somebody take a shotgun and blow someone else's head off, and he'd be like, "Oh, I de-headed that
de-headed.
motherfucker."
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. It'd be a little on the nose.
Call it
but
whatever
yeah.
you want, asshole. Anyway, yeah.
See Bruce Campbell
It'd be
delivering that
fine
line
for
with
a
some
horror
gusto.
movie. It would be fine for a horror movie for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Peter is afraid of spiders. I think we mentioned that, right? Did we mention that? Well, he is. He's very afraid of spiders, so he didn't want anything fancy with Shelob. He just wanted a giant spider, and to have that spider have all the characteristics that freak him out about spiders. Specifically, the thing that freaks him out the most is the quick movement and then the stop. And then the quick movement and then the stop. And so he's not afraid of like tarantulas who are kind of slow and draggy. He's afraid of like the
Like
really
like you can't keep track of
untrustworthy
them.
ones.
It's the
Yeah.
scuttling.
Right.
that they
I
don't
hate
like.
that shit too.
And the quiet again. Film did it really well. This the quietness of it, where the spider's creeping up on him, really good.
Really good. They based it on a tunnel Weber spider. Tunnel Weber.
Okay.
Scary shit. Don't look it up, TC.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So
Wait, how are those big spiders?
they're pretty big. Yep.
Funnel Weber, not tunnel Weber.
Oh, is it funnel Weber?
Probably.
I misheard. I wrote down
Yeah, and
tunnel Weber.
I think we got funnel Weber.
This is good. That's
You're on a roll today.
You're gonna have to do another like corrective episode.
oh god,
otherwise.
correct me now, John. Here, Wikipedia man. Here we go. So the rhino beasts that are pulling carts in the first half of the battle in front of Minas Tirith, those are described in one sentence in the book very non-descriptively. They're just like rhino beasts are coming or something like that. Alan Lee, one of the two boss artists that are working on both these movies, painted a picture of what these things could be just from that one sentence description from his imagination, and they took that image and made the creatures from that image. Yet again, guy's taking shit from his mind, putting it on paper, translating into a movie. Pretty awesome. I mean, I say that over and over again. That's kind of what authors do as well, you know?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do when they're making movies. Like somebody is having an idea and putting it in the movie, but it's a lot more collaborative, I feel like a lot of the time. And just having somebody like create an image that you replicate and make move is kind of a step up, at least to someone who's really bad at drawing. And it can at least write full sentences down on paper, you know? The dead Mama Kill Elephant, there was a real set for that. It was the one where the Witch King fight happens. It was so large that it took 18 trucks to carry the parts and pieces from where they constructed it to the set they filmed it on.
Damn.
Wow.
And they had one of the closing ceremony picnics they had for all the cast and crew was at that site. And everyone's little kids were just like running around the dead Mama Kill and stuff. And it was massive. It was like 20 feet tall.
Jesus.
Yeah. So the first scene with Sam and Frodo in this movie was filmed during the Fellowship of the Ring filming. During the Fellowship, there was a big flood in Queenstown, and they had to move all the stuff they were planning on shooting outside into a hotel squash court, which was the only place available that they could try to turn into a set. They built this rock set because they needed to keep filming.
In a squash court?
In a squash court. So that scene of them kind of fighting, I think it's when they're fighting over the bread that they have or whatever. It's like the first scene in the movie where they're on the rocks. Sam shot first. They typically, for these two actor performances, they shot one of the actors first, and then they shot the other actor in sequence. They did Sam all the first day, and then the flood cleared. So then they moved back to Fellowship of the Ring. And that footage of Sam acting like to Frodo, but no Frodo lines, sat there for over a year. And so they finally got back to it. They needed to rent out the squash court for over a year from this hotel because they built the set and they didn't want to rebuild it. So they just rented it out for a long period of time.
Hey, dude, we want to play squash. Nope, sorry.
All right, man,
Just
you can't
take a
do
day.
it.
What about tomorrow? Nope. Next week? Nope. We got bookings for 9 months. What? What do you mean? This is not that popular.
Look, man,
of a
we got a
sport,
lot
man.
of lead we got to put in here. You're not going to want to go in anyways, so
It's
don't
not
worry
popular.
about it. All
I
right.
picked it up because it
You'll
was
be all
available.
right.
Who wants to play squash that bad? It's racquetball with no bounce. But whatever.
This happens a lot in this movie, especially with pickup shots. When they had the edits getting close to being done, Peter would be like, well, the scene could be awesome if we had a little more dialogue here talking about this one specific thing. Call the actors back in, build the sets back up, do the pickup shots to make the scenes more cohesive from front to back. And they did that with almost every single scene in this movie. And you can't tell at all. There's zero chance you can tell. It's fucking amazing. Sometimes there's over 3 years in difference between what you're watching in between different cuts of the shot. And they do the same thing of like, not only with time, but with location. Like a lot of the shots of them on volcanoes and stuff, they actually shot on a volcano in New Zealand. And it was so dangerous that they had to be harnessed to the rock. They had to paint out wires from Sam and Frodo. But then a lot of it was shot on a set with foam rocks. And you can't tell. You literally can't.
Wow.
Pretty awesome. Get right, TC. You
I
talk
mean,
about
it
shit
is.
you want in this movie. You cannot tell that they're doing this.
Yeah, I'm just shitting on the other parts.
The rest
Production,
of it.
you can't go wrong, honestly.
The choice of camera, long shots, the acting, the big wide eyes, the
That's
music.
probably why it was so hard to cut all the stuff out, right? There, he was like, well, fine, I'll get rid of the shot of me. I don't give a shit about that one. That gets us 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
They probably picked the lowest, the worst ones that they, had on the list.
Like
And we're
quality
like,
wise
fuck
or
it.
story wise?
Or just story wise. Like if it wasn't adding anything, cut it. And because all of it looks good. So it's like, it's very unlikely, I would imagine, that they're cutting things because like it wasn't production quality. It was
not on this one.
Right.
Definitely not on this one. Yeah. It was a well-oiled machine by this third one. They were flying and they were all doing an awesome job. They had all the systems set up. Yeah, and also that scene had Gollum in it, and it was shot before Andy Serkis was cast. So it was shot before any of that Gollum redesign. It was shot before they were planning on having someone stand on the set with them during those things. So like that was pretty different too. Can't tell. There's a scene in Minas Tirith where Denethor thinks Faramir's dead or something, and he puts him on a pyre and tries to light it on fire. and there's a fire on the pyre.
Yeah, fire and
nice.
fire.
Nicely done.
So and they have horses near it, and horses are very afraid of fire, but they wanted real fire in camera when they did it. So what they did is they lined the camera up and had a piece of glass that was semi-reflective, put at a 45-degree angle between the camera and the pier, and all the way to the left, they had a fire going. So the reflection of the fire hit the glass, projected itself in front of the pyre, and that's the shot. So it was shot all on camera, and the horse wasn't near fire.
Shit.
Damn.
Wow.
Pretty fucking cool. I don't know why they do it like that, because there's other CG fire shots in this movie. Why not just use CG? I don't know. I appreciate the
That's
magic.
fair.
Yeah.
It looks real at the very least.
Yeah, it did look good.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't notice it, right?
Yeah. I didn't think, if I had known that horses were afraid of fire, I would have been more impressed. But I had no idea that horses were afraid of fire. So I was like, oh, that horse just doesn't mind fire. That's fine. They just
They
let
don't
that thing on
cleanse? Okay. I see how it is.
Dirty lunged motherfuckers.
Fuckers.
Horses.
The
That's
fuck,
what I always
man?
say. Let's see. So yeah, that pirates deleted scene where Peter Jackson gets shot by an arrow. They dressed up all the producers, the people for Weta. Peter Jackson was there. The DP was there. All the people working behind the camera dressed up as the pirates, and they were all in that very, very short scene of the people coming on boats. So if you have if you know who these people are, you can look at that 10-second shot of everyone on the boat and find all the people behind the camera in there, which is fun for them. Incorporate them and then delete their scene from the movie. You think you're going to be in this movie? Fuck you. It's gone.
That's right.
Yeah.
The suits run the show.
Was pissed. Christopher Lee was pissed. It took him a while to get over it because he thought for a while he was going to be in the third one too. And, he loves these books a lot and he was excited about it. Yeah. And then, he was told he wasn't, and he fought to get himself back in, and they were like, "Doesn't work, dude. We're really sorry, but you can't be in it." So even on the commentary track, he was like a little pissed off still. He like tried to play it off that he wasn't mad, but just like, oh man, that really hurt. Definitely hurt him that he wasn't on screen when this movie was coming out.
That is too bad.
That is too bad. Poor dude. In Shelob's lair, when Sam comes to save Frodo, and you see his hand with a sword come in frame there for the first time. It comes in from like the top left of the screen. You see the bottom of his hand. That's Peter Jackson's hand. They didn't have Sean Astin on set when they needed it. And Peter didn't even tell anybody he wanted that shot. He just thought of it. It was like, give me the sword. They shot it and they threw it in the movie. And
there you go.
Yep.
All right, Peter Jackson still gets his cameo.
Yeah, he does. He's in there. The Gates of Mordor, they shot on an army testing ground in New Zealand. It's like the one place they test bombs and artillery, and there's live potentially stuff there. There was a whole area that they had somewhat marked off for like, don't go over here. There might still be landmines over here.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
And there was one shot where they're riding away, or they're riding towards the gate and they're shooting it, and they went a little too far because there wasn't actually like a fence to be like, you can't go here. The whole area was like pretty dangerous, but there was like an area you weren't supposed to ride past.
Yeah.
They rode past it, and that was the most scared anyone was on either movie, because they're like, they might explode. They literally might fucking step on a landmine and explode, and then the movie's over.
Yeah. Well, we still got to do this.
Yeah, so, get out there. 10 hours left. Let's go. Come on.
Still got to do it. Yeah. We might explode though. Yeah, but we still got to do it. Okay.
Yeah. We'll make it to. We'll give you $160 a day. How's that?
Yeah, that's right. I'm
Done.
scared, man. All right.
And I don't have to wait an hour once Crafty's out to eat it. I don't get the leftovers. I get the fresh stuff, fresh cold cuts.
I don't know about that. Nope.
Right.
No, sorry, we're on a schedule with that. We can't mess that up for everybody else. Sorry, we'll give you 10 extra bucks an hour. That's all we can do. Okay, have a good one.
Orlando Bloom doesn't like the lower downs touching his cured meats before he gets to touch them first. So sorry, no.
I wouldn't
either. Yeah, they found like pieces of bombs. They had to do like a safety thing, being like, if you find something like this, don't touch it. If you find something like this, don't touch it.
You hear a click, don't move.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is ride blindly through this area on horses. What good is the safety lesson? I can't see shit. I'm on a fucking horse. The horse can't hear you.
That's right. See my horse. I see something. I'll tell my horse not to move. I'm sure he'll just stop right there. He's a good boy.
So what do you do if you see something? How do you tell your horse? You go, horse, watch out, horse.
Yeah, watch out. Look at the bomb. That's the bombs we talked about. Horse. And the horse will go, oh yeah, I know. Okay, I'll
Thanks
go
for telling me.
Then.
Yeah. Pointless. Luckily, they didn't explode.
God damn.
During that Gates of Mordor scene, a lot of the extras were the New Zealand army. They dressed up and participated in that scene. Nice. For a lot of the battle scenes, it's pretty funny watching the behind the scenes because the cameramen all had boxing gloves and helmets on because they have the cameras kind of like up in front of their face, and they're in there, and people are like whacking each other and shit. And
right, so they're like getting smashed.
They're getting
around.
smashed. Yeah. So
Nice.
they're in the line of fire of all these. I mean, a lot of the extras are they were all trained with swords and stuff, and there wasn't specific choreography for a lot of it, so they just go at each other.
Right,
so
just go whack each other, try not to hurt each other or the cameraman, but
that's why we got padding.
But whatever. It doesn't really.
If it looks
matter.
good,
We got plenty of budget. Don't
but
worry
you
about
know
it.
what? Still try to make it realistic. So we, if some people get hurt, that's probably better than it not looking good.
Mm-hmm. And really, don't you stuntmen like to brag about it at the end of the day? Who got hurt the most? I'm sure that's a thing you do, right?
Busted nose, right? That's like,
one of the more dangerous shots is they had the two little people playing Merry and Pippin run out in front of everyone else charging during that scene. You have Aragorn go forward, and then you have Merry and Pippin go forward second and out in front of everyone. And then all the humans, like the regular sized humans, they run and pass them. That was not a trick shot. They had little people doing that, and it was pretty dangerous because there was a lot of people. And if they tripped and fell, then there's a bunch of humans like right behind them that wouldn't have seen him and would have trampled them.
Right,
basically.
right.
So they were worried about that one. But guess what? They did it anyway.
No, I did anyways. This is concerning, but let's go.
This could be dangerous, but like I said, we got
You
time
might die.
schedule.
You might die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. Let's go.
I want you little people to know that right now it would be a bad time to trip, okay? You don't want to trip.
Watch out for the mortar shells while you run, you
Just
fucks.
watch out with the bums, and also just take extra precautions as you make your little stippy steps running over there. Because, if you trip, then you'd be dead.
You step on a mine, you're dead.
Shot. Let's
you
go.
trip, you're dead.
We're losing daylight.
For most of these three movies, they shot Andy Serkis in a green spandex jumper thingy that looked really stupid, and he would act out all the stuff for Sam and Frodo to have a physical thing to act against. But then, because the technology wasn't there, he would have to go to a motion capture set later and act out those exact same things in front of cameras and make it so it matched exactly. So then they could they could remove his green self from the Sam and Frodo portion and insert his solo motion capture shit.
Before the ping pong balls or whatever, they would have suits that would sort of like...
And I said that they didn't have ping pong balls. Guess who invented the ping pong balls, John? This movie invented the ping pong balls, the third one.
Nice.
Because they were running out of time and they had so many effect shots to go, and they still had so many scenes of Sam and Frodo and Gollum that they were just like, guys, is there any way we could combine the two? Because like for any given day, you'd save like, for any day that Schmeagol or Gollum would shoot, he would have 2 more days at least in the motion capture studio because it was harder to match what was already done because he's doing it to nobody, right?
Oh, man.
So it's harder for him to do the motion capture stuff than it is to act with Sam and Frodo. So they wanted to combine it, in a way that didn't destroy the original footage with Sam and Frodo. And they came up with the dot method and digitally painted in to, instead of having to get his body and match it manually, they could match to dots. Like somebody had the idea to capture the dots digitally. That way you could paint over all the points, which they figured out was like the most important thing, all the parts that moved. And they invented it for this movie.
Right,
cool.
In the last few weeks of the last movie in the trilogy, they invented it because of the time crunch.
And then he probably added in 4 more shots. He's like, well, since we saved the time there, why don't we go ahead and add in some more things?
You've been listening. He did. He's like, great. Now we can add more shit.
Right.
Awesome.
That's
Great. And everybody was like, I fucking hate you, dude. $175 now. All right.
Yep. Yeah, he did have a quote that was, what did he say? He was like, you only have to deliver it just in time, basically. That's the trick, is what he said. Just in time.
Which, every single person in the world trying to do this for a living is like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Just fuck you. Yeah, you can do
Pretty
it.
much.
The rest of us can't, right? Fucking asshole.
These guys signed up for it, though. They were all enthusiastic. Could be an after the
This was
fact
also
thing.
in the height of the movie industry in the modern age, I think, too. It's on a decline since then, so...
Yeah.
They're trying to cost cut in any way they can, where that wasn't really a thing back then. They're still on the up and up.
It's going in the opposite direction, where it's like, if you need everyone to pitch in hands to melt snow, like in this movie, people are like, that's not in my contract.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking doing shit.
No, fuck
Or like,
you, asshole. You pay me more and give me
Yeah.
an additional contract and some percentages, then yeah, sure.
Yep.
Right.
So it's going the opposite direction now, which is not great either, I guess.
No, it won't, because it'll just mean no one will make anything. It'll just move over to the robots. That's what's coming next.
Nice. Here come the robots.
It's so true.
Can't wait. So Sean Astin was a little uncomfortable kissing Rosie, the actor who played Rosie during the marriage scene.
How come?
His wife is usually on set. He loves his wife. He's like a very wholesome kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that would be embarrassed to kiss another woman, even if he's an actor. So it wasn't going well during the scene of the kissing because he seemed uncomfortable. To help him feel better, Vigo and who was it? It was Billy Boyd came on set to kind of like pretend to be in the audience for the wedding because it was just them two and there wasn't really an audience. Like they were pretending to be in front of an audience, but there wasn't. They pretend like they went there and gave him an audience, and then to make him smile, he wasn't like smiling convincingly. So to get him to do that after he kissed her, Vigo turned to Billy Boyd and kissed him straight in the mouth for a long period of time with tongue, is what Billy said. And like looking at Sam when he did it, looking at Sean Astin, and Sean, the smile you get in the movie is because Sean Astin is watching Vigo kiss Billy Boyd on the mouth.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's funny. HR nightmare nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Still.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's funny.
it's too bad.
The little
It's pretty
things that get the right, reaction out of an actor, huh?
Yeah. And speaking of Vigo, he got on his last day, he was given a dance. I forget what the dance is called. A haka, Hakka, from all the stuntmen, because like he did as much as the stuntmen did, and especially like for all these stuntmen who worked in a lot of movies, he's like the only actor that has ever kind of equaled himself to all the stunt people. So it was like really impressive for them, and he did so much stuff that it made all the stunt guys want to work harder on the movie because you're a stunt guy. You don't want to be doing worse than an actor in the movie. That would be embarrassing.
Right.
So they gave him a dance. And then he went around after they gave him a dance. He was like nearly in tears. And then guess what he did? He headbutted every single one of them. Headbutted.
Nice.
Okay.
Fucking crazy. He said
Half of them are unconscious.
he said he was going up for a hug, but then he headbutted the first one. And then he's like, shit, I got to headbutt every single one of them now. And he said he was lucky they weren't filming the next day because he had a giant welt in the center of his forehead.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
All right, guys, we're doing a 3-parter again.
Guess the time goes by when you're having fun, huh?
See you guys next week / in 2 minutes.